Yo. This is the intro. I told people that I will be live at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Here I am, the hostess with the mostest, all that other stuff. It's your man Mel. This is just the intro that I'm doing right now. Just the hellos. How's everybody doing? Hopefully everybody is good. Hopefully everybody is well. I know people are going through issues with COVID. I know people are going through issues with crime. I know people are going through economic issues. People are facing a whole bunch of different things that I am not. Hold on, let me make sure I got my pieces in. I got everything together. Had to turn my AC off so folks can hear me. I'm live. Again, welcome again. This is Mel Live, September 1st, 2020. We're nearing a crazy time towards the year, going towards the end of the year, especially the holidays coming up soon. 9/11 here in this country, different holidays, Columbus Day, stuff like that going on. Just saying the different hellos and everything to people. Folks are facing issues of all types, economic issues, racial issues, issues with COVID-19. What's going on? Good afternoon to you, sis Dad. Thank you for coming through. I appreciate you. I'm just checking in with y'all folks right now just to see how everybody is doing. Hopefully everybody is good. What's going on, Mighty R? Appreciate you for coming through. Hopefully everybody is good. Hopefully your families are safe. Hopefully all the stuff that's going on with you, is manageable for whatever you at in the world, whatever time zone you coming through, however you're gonna be. I'm not gonna be here too long, but long enough to make an impact. It's been a while since I've seen you folks. It's been a while since you've seen me. It's all good. How am I, Mighty R? I'm doing all right. I was going through some things. My neck was stiff, but I had to work that out. I had to get myself together and do whatever I had to do. For the most part, just maintaining, just out there struggling and striving and trying to, get through the times just like anybody else, just like any one of y'all. Where will I start with this, though? Hopefully everything is good with you, though, too, brother. Hopefully everything is good with anybody that may watch this in the replay as well. Shout out to the replay gang. You already know that's what's up. We'll start off with economic issues. We'll start off with the stuff that's happening in the world right now. In the U.S. and across the world, there are people hurting all over. There are millions of unemployed. There's millions of more that are gonna be laid off, that are gonna be laid to pasture as far as jobs and all that stuff is concerned. And my heart goes out to you. What I say to you when I try to give my thoughts is to, spend your money wisely. Like I said many times, try to save up as much as you can, be frugal, try to find places where you could get, food at a discount or free food. If you got to go to food pantries, try not to be too proud about the situations. It's hard. It's a very difficult time because of what's going on. Yeah, definitely tough times we live in. Thank you. I appreciate that. Sis, that's good to have you be around. Thanks for anybody showing up. I appreciate you folks for just being here. So like with the economic times, I say to folks right now, it may be some belt tightening, it may be some austerity measures, some cutting back of things. Don't try to spend stuff that you don't need. Like, for instance, I'll give people, something I was talking to my mother about, just like certain things that you don't need. Like, I had to get rid of some cable boxes, or I'm paying for your streaming services that you don't need to pay for. Or sometimes you have that expensive meal that you don't really need. Sometimes you cut back on that, or don't go shopping as much. You just cut back. You just try not to buy and spend what you don't need to spend. And for those people that do have jobs and that are not facing tough, strenuous economic issues right now, God bless the child that's got his own, as they say. Be grateful, because there are a lot of people out there hurting. There's a lot of people out there struggling. There's a lot of people who do not have. So don't take for granted what you do have if you have means. And I'll say that to anybody out there. Again, I'll say to those people again, don't take it for granted if you have means, because that very thing that you have can be taken away from you as well. So don't take it for granted just because you have money in your hand. And I know, moms, if you're watching this, I know you don't want me showing money on camera, but just because you have money in your hand today doesn't mean it can't be gone tomorrow. Ooh, and I just threw money in the water. Oh man. Anyway, I can't drink that. We'll see. But anyway, forgive me. I'm rambling on. Anyway, you get that part. On to presidential politics, to give my thoughts on presidential politics. What's up, Yas Poet? You came in just at the right time. If I want to give my thoughts on presidential politics, you already know who the candidates are. There's Joe Biden on one side. There's President Donald Trump on the other side. regardless what side you stand on, regardless of what you feel about the issues, whether you're Democrat, Republican, whether you're progressive, whether you're far right. We turn off the television to save money and less nonsense from the news. Yes, that is one good thing. When it comes to presidential politics, I'll try to make this clear cut and simple. We're living in a time right now where now more than ever, it's more important to pay attention what's going on at all levels of politics, of government. Everybody votes matter, count, or just your interest in what's going on. It matters, it counts, it's of significance. I'm at work and I can't chime in, but I'll listen. Nothing wrong with that, Yas Poet. But I will say this, regardless of who the president is, being civically active, I won't vote for either of them. All right, fine, I get that, Mighty R. But being civically active, being involved in what's going on with your local community, your city, state, otherwise your Providence. What's up, Bella? I appreciate you. It matters. It's not something that you should just, turn off or tune away. It's something that you should pay attention to. Are we still going to go through issues regardless of who the president is, in 2021 or, after the elections in November? Yes, we're still going to go through issues. We're still going to have COVID. We're still going to have economic issues. We're still going to have crime. We're still going to have a whole host of things that are going on. But it's important to be aware, to be abreast of these situations, to find out what's going on, to look at what part you can play, to not sit there and say that I don't have a voice, I don't have any power in the situation, regardless of who's president or what's going on. Because usually power is given up when people begin to believe that they have no power, that they have no say-so. So I encourage people, regardless of who's the president, regardless of what's going on, regardless of what the issues are, regardless if it's people that you don't like, be involved, be active, find out what the issues are, be engaged. I'm not going to sit here and preach to you about presidential politics. What I will say about it is don't just dismiss it. Don't be dismissive of what's going on, because regardless of who the president is in November after the election, these are issues that still will affect our lives. And I say this to people all across the world, whoever your prime ministers and elected officials are, pay attention to what's going on. Keep an eye on the politics of the day. Keep an eye on it, even if you just, in passing, and, just find out what's happening. Stay informed. If anything, I'll say that, when it comes to the presidential politics, portion of this thing. Just it's not so much just about presidential politics, but I go up there to the highest standards to say it's all relevant on each level, on even your neighborhood watch or the committee board or the urban planning section of your town. Pay attention, because the things that you miss a lot of times may be just the things that you need to know. And like I said, that's just my thoughts on that, not to get too preachy or anything like that. So that's the presidential politics portion of this. So now we go to racial injustice. When it goes to racial justice or racial injustice, I was going to get around to this because people have been watching my channel. They've been seeing what I've been talking about. Yes, I have to speak on the whole Jacob Blake situation. I have some of you out there who have some strong opinions, some strong thoughts about Jacob Blake and that whole situation, about whether he was armed, whether he was unarmed, his criminal record, all that stuff. Just to break that down for folks that don't understand or may not get it as it pertains to Jacob Blake, and the shooting of him by the police officer 7 times in the back. This is what it's about. It's not about trying to cover for somebody because we're the same race. It's not about just whitewashing the situation or blacklisting the situation or pro-blacking it all day or Black Lives Matter. It's about equality. It's about a fair shake for everybody, because there are people of different backgrounds who may not get that treatment depending on what the situation is. And there's some people who feel like enough is enough. Sometimes you look on in the media, doesn't help either. Sometimes they're perpetuating the same cycle. I can't afford to give my opinion. How you see who's running my country? I rest my case. Well, Bella, that's a whole other story. I can't really speak on who's running your country. I'm gonna leave Mr. Johnson alone. God bless you out there. God save the Queen. But as it pertains to this country, as it pertains to the racial issues here, there are a lot of people out here, especially people of color, who've had enough, who are fed up. They're tired of, the treatment and how things are portrayed. Because what happened with Jacob Blake, soon as it found out he had a criminal record, then they're attacking his criminal record and they're going over the fact that the police officer went a little too hard. You could debate whether or not it should have been 7 times or any times at all when there was backup. And it's not so much about that particular situation. That situation is probably in a microcosm of other situations. It's not so much about Jacob Blake being shot in the back 7 times. It's about the George Floyds, the Breonna Taylors of the world. It's about the Freddie Grays, the Ergons, the Chandra Blands of the world having to go through that. It's about the pattern of the abuses. It's about the patterns of the injustices that seem to be happening to a certain particular group of people, segment of people inside of the country, and the response to it. Because these things happen to people from all walks of life and races. I mean, at least black folks are getting acknowledged, when it happens. There are people who are Asian. There are people who are native peoples, indigenous peoples that this stuff happens to all the time. Immigrants that this stuff happens to all the time, and they don't get nearly enough press. I'm sorry, man, like history repeating itself. Yeah, shaking your head. Yeah, sometimes we do go in circles, Josh Poet. It is what it is, Bella. So my thing, it's not so much so that we're trying to highlight Jacob Blake in that situation because he does have a criminal record. He has done some things I don't condone. I don't stand behind him just because it's a black thing. I'm saying that whether that was a black man, whether that was a white man, whether that was a Hispanic man, an Asian man, somebody Middle Eastern descent, it's still wrong if it would have happened that way. It's still not something that should be done. And then you do have the fact that there were kids in the cars. You at least want to, try to acknowledge the scene and find out. The thing was that the officers are supposed to be trained. So the officers are supposed to be trained to deal with those situations. And the individual who was the perpetrator, who was somebody they were going after to try to arrest, he is not trained. So he is going to pertain certain ignorances and adjust to it in a certain type of way that suits him, whether it's law-abiding or not. And there's still a duty to serve and protect, or to be upstanding and to uphold a certain standard. We as individuals are responsible for our actions on both sides of the equations, both sides. Yes, we are as both individuals, but some people are supposed to uphold the standard or be held to a higher standard. Like I say, if I myself am a criminal and I'm dealing with uniformed police officers, they have certain training, they have a certain standard, they have a certain oath that they sworn. Now, in the streets, I may have sworn a certain oath, and maybe my oath is to do exactly what I did or do out in the streets and the cops catch me. But the cops swear a certain oath too. So when you break that oath, that says something else about that. And people are just tired of folks being able to break their oath whenever they feel like it, but we have to be held to a certain standard. What's going on? Life with Lois, appreciate you for coming through. Thank you for being here. But that's just my whole thing on that particular situation. Yes, I will speak more in depth or more further on racial injustices as time comes up, but I don't want this whole live stream to be dominated by situations or issues of racial injustice, because there's so much more going on in the world today. And like I said, I want to have a broader conversation, and hopefully I'm presenting a broader conversation for people that, really here for it. Hopefully this is, worth your time listening to this, I hope. So now I'm going to go into something that I did mention a little bit earlier here, before I lose anybody else. Anybody remember COVID-19? Anybody remember social distancing? Having to have masks? Let me see. Anybody remember this? Having to have a mask on, and having to make sure that everything is good and you got it together. Anybody remember that? Anybody? But like I was saying, it seems as if with all the stuff that's going on that, we may have forgotten about, the fact that we are in a global pandemic. There's a conspiracy theory. Somebody sent me a text today saying that out of all the almost 200,000 people that died in America, only really 9,000 of them were COVID deaths. You could go through the conspiracy theories, and some people saying it's not really COVID and it's a way to control people. All right, Yas Poet, see you there. Check you out, bro. Thanks for stopping by, even if it's a minute or 2 minutes, 3. Peace, brother. So yeah, so it seems like there's a lot of conspiracy theories floating around. Now, you could say it's a manufactured virus. Some people saying it's a Chinese thing. Some people saying it's coming from Europe. Some folks are just, saying that it's aliens, it's a conspiracy by the government, whatever the case is. You can get to whatever the case is. Something's floating around there and it's killing people. And some people are just not taking it serious. Some people, wearing a mask, not wearing a mask. There's protests. They're fighting against it. It's against my constitutional right. When most Americans, I hate to say this, most Americans don't know the Constitution, but okay, it's against your constitutional rights. Show me which part of the Constitution, as far as that goes. They are telling us that things are almost back to normal. Well, our supermarkets look like a scene from Star Wars. That's not normal. Well, here's the thing. They want to tell us that it's going back to normal, but people are afraid. People are scared. There's still people that don't want to catch anything. Folks, sitting on the train, they see somebody trying to sit next to them, they want to move away. Because here's the thing, regardless of whether or not you believe that COVID-19 is real, or if it's a hoax, or if it's something you should care about, the reality is folks don't want to get sick. I'll tell you like this, whether you believe it or not, I don't want to get sick from somebody that doesn't care. I don't want to get sick from somebody who chooses not to wear their mask. I don't, I really don't. I want to stay as healthy as possible as long as I can. I want to try to, ride this whole thing out and get through this pandemic. I want to be safe. I want to social distance from people. Maybe I'll see some people, maybe I won't. You know how that goes. And hopefully you want to do the same as well. And rest in peace to those folks that we have lost due to COVID-19. I lost an uncle. There's some other friends and stuff that I've lost, things that I haven't talked about. And condolences to anybody else that has lost anybody due to, COVID-19 related illnesses and stuff like that, underlying conditions and things that are happening. But I just find it odd how quickly we forget. I do whatever I can to be safe. I want to live. Yes, Bella, I want to live too. That's how I feel. Like I said, if it's COVID-19, COVID-20, I don't care if it's COVID 2003, whatever it is, I want to live. I don't even want to catch the flu. I don't know about you. Like I said, maybe you're okay. Maybe you super tough. Maybe you strong. I don't know. Maybe you got tiger blood in you. I don't know what it is. But the thing is, I'll try to be as healthy as I can, as long as I can, and try not to catch myself caught up because, there's still people that have to go to the hospital and be put on ventilators. And for those people that don't know or don't understand what that means when you're being put on a ventilator, when you're being put on a ventilator, you're being you're being in an induced in coma, and you have a 50-50 chance once you catch this COVID-19 if you have underlying medical conditions, because there's a possibility you may not make it. I saw one lady, it was a sad situation where it's a story you could probably check out on Anderson Cooper with a lady. She was a nurse at one of the hospitals, and she got caught up with COVID-19, and she had diabetes, and she had lost circulation because she was on the ventilator for so long because no circulation going to her hands and whatnot. And what happened was her hands had to be, like basically amputated off, like 3 or 4 of her hands. But she was alive and she did make it out. But that's a traumatic situation. So, you don't want it to get to that point. So I say, regardless of whatever side you stand on COVID-19, whether you believe it's real, whether you not believe it's real, try to be considerate of the folks out there that may get sick or may die. You may have somebody that you love. There's no vaccine out there yet that we know of. Maybe it'll come soon or whenever it's supposed to be here. So just be mindful of that. Remember COVID-19. Remember the issues that surrounding that. Some things are, realer than you know as it pertains to that, because there's something floating around in the air. And last but not least, I say rest in peace to all we lost due to natural causes, gun violence, corrupt situations due to law enforcement, maybe police handling, just regular life struggles, whatever it is that you may face. Rest in peace. And I even say do a moment of silence for all those folks, that were lost. And it was sad though. We lost Chadwick Boseman as well too. Rest in peace to the Black Panther. Wakanda forever. That was kind of sad and just shows the seriousness of the illnesses of colon cancer and cancers of all types. You really don't want to have to face that. You really don't want to have to deal with those realities. But cancer is a quote unquote MFer. F cancer for those out there like that. And I know it's hard because a lot of us have lost loved ones. Like I said, I've lost my sister, I've lost my uncle, I've lost friends. People have died recently. Folks are, have lost many loved ones, out there, and it's rough. It's rough. Sometimes, it takes time to get over it. And once everybody gives the condolences and says the prayers and everybody's not paying attention, it's still you and the loss that you face, the grief that comes from that. So again, like I said, my thoughts and prayers with all those folks out there struggling, with every different life struggles, especially with the hurricanes, Hurricane Laura, Hurricane is Isaiah. I forgot how you say it, but anybody dealing with any natural disaster, anybody dealing with any ailments out there, anybody dealing with the loss of a loved one because of just life struggles. Again, my thoughts and prayers are with you, because it's not easy. Like I said, this is not meant to be a political statement. It's not meant to try to move it one way or the other, just for the consideration of people that have lost folks out there, because it's really just not easy. Sometimes you don't know which way to turn. You don't know what to do. Some things just don't seem the same. Experiences that you've had, memories that you've shared, you try to remember that. I thank God my family are all okay so far. We're far anyway. Yeah. Well, Bella, there's that too. Be grateful if you have your loved ones with you, because not all of us made it out of this situation with our loved ones. Like, I give you for instance, my older sister passed away, some months back, and this month, it's my nephew's birthday on the 15th, and the 16th is my sister's birthday. So it's kind of crazy, because you'll be going from one joyous occasion and celebrating life in one instance to saying happy birthday and then memorializing the death in the next instance. So it's like life and death are kind of like right there. Life and death right there, right there, right there. It's like the rapper Nas said, the same time a baby's being born, a man is being murdered, the beginning and end, I think is vice versa. My nephew will be 10 years old this year. Thank you, Bella, for asking. So it's rough, because this year my sister would have been 45. So my nephew's 10, my sister would have been 45, and then you're going from celebrating life to memorializing death and celebrating the life, and there's a lot of complicated emotions that come with that, and go that interact with that, and wedge with that. We've had our problems here in Denver. As really good to hear from you, my friend. I base my understanding on what's been going on from NYC. I hear from it's interesting in NYC what's going on. What's going on is that our count is down for the people that are dying because of COVID. But what people fail to realize is that there are people still dying of cancer. There's still people, dying of lung disease. There's still people dying of heart attacks, diabetes. There's still people dying of natural causes. There's still people, being killed because of crime. Thank you, Sid. Appreciate you. There's so many things that are going on. Sometimes we forget, with all the COVID madness, with all the racial injustice and the protesting and the riot and stuff like that. Sometimes we forget that people are going through regular situations. Right now as we're talking, a baby is being born, and as in the same breath, somebody is passing away because of natural causes, respiratory issues, cancer, whatever it may be. And it's rough, because what you try to do is you try to put it all into perspective. And sometimes it's a challenge putting it into perspective, because you don't want to face the world or go out there and have to deal with certain things. You're constantly thinking about the loss of your loved one, or your friend or your lover or whoever it was. And sometimes that's a difficult task for people to really deal with, a big lift, to try to deal with, as it pertains to that. So like I say, I just try to tell people, stay strong out there, remember the positive memories that you have, try to look back and smile, on the things that you did to build each other up, to lift each other up, the memories, that you've made. Appreciate the loved ones that you have around you, because it was kind of funny, because me and my sister, didn't have the greatest of relationships towards the end. And as I was looking for her to call her and seek her out, it was kind of funny. It was too late. She had already passed away due to the complications from different things that she was facing, which I'm not going to really go into here in the live stream. But, appreciate your loved ones, appreciate the people in your life, respect the folks that care about you, because you never know when those opportunities are going to fade or slip through your fingers like sand. You never know when those situations are going to go. It's crazy. Life, goes like that. So appreciate the moments that you have. Love the people that you have around you. Appreciate, cherish them. Hug them, kiss them. If you argue with them, still come back and apologize. Yeah, it is the Brooklyn way. It definitely is the Brooklyn way. And on that note, unless there's any questions, anything anybody wants to say, I'm probably going to wrap this up. This was a quick 24, 25 minutes or whatever this was. it went by so quick. Hopefully this is helpful. Hopefully there's something that you got out of this, or something that people could take away from this. Hopefully there was something for everybody. Oh, also too, as a point of housekeeping, I'll say this: I'm possibly going to go live on the 15th. If not, maybe the 16th, because it's my nephew's birthday. We'll see what is happening with that. If there's anything that you want to talk about, thank you, Bella. Appreciate you. If there's anything you want me to talk about, any topics, any issues, to express in the live stream, just let me know. And I would definitely address that in the next live stream. And with that being said, if our hearts and minds are clear, let us go in peace. Spread love. It's the Brooklyn way. Gotta go. Thanks for stopping by. Everybody be safe, stay healthy, be well. Don't hurt each other.